For the first time in over 60 years, a US president has publicly disclosed his active stock trades while in office. And it is not just a few casual buys, it is hundreds of millions of dollars across 3,700 trades, all in just a single quarter. On its own, that is already incredible. But when you line up the trades against what the US government did with those companies, that is where the story gets interesting. In this video, I want to show you what I found out when I mapped the trades and how they are not just any random picks. So let's not waste any time and let's jump right in. On January 6th, Trump bought around $500,000 to $1 million of Nvidia. And just 7 days later, the US Commerce Department authorized Nvidia to resume selling its H200 chips to China. This was a chip that Biden had explicitly banned from China on national security grounds, as they were worried that it could supercharge China's military AI. But just like that, a market worth up to $50 billion had opened back up for Nvidia. In that same month, Trump also bought between $50,000 to $100,000 of AMD. And about a week later, AMD received the same exact authorization. It was cleared to sell its own AI chips to Chinese buyers on the very same day as Nvidia. And it was not just the chip makers. In February, Trump bought between $1 million and $5 million of Dell. And just 3 months later, during a White House event, he said,
"So go out and buy a Dell, they're great."
On the same day, the stock hit an all-time high. And not long after that, Dell was awarded a $9.7 billion Pentagon software contract. The same playbook then showed up with Micron. In March, Trump bought between $500,000 to $1 million of it. Just 2 months later, at the rally in New York, he said, "Micron is great." By the end of the day, the stock was up 20%, and 3 days later, Micron crossed $1 trillion market cap. Then there's Palantir, the one company on this list that sells almost directly to the government itself. In January 2026, Trump bought up to $150,000 of it. And just a month later, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE signed a major Palantir software agreement. Then there's also Intel. Trump didn't just buy it himself. The US government owns around 10% of the company too. So almost every single time Trump buys a stock, the US government does something that directly benefits that company. But it even gets crazier than that, because it's not just about the timing of these trades, it's also the returns. Dell is up more than 250% this year, and over 80% of that since that single White House endorsement in May. Micron is up 214%, Intel is up nearly 200%, hitting all-time highs for the first time in over 25 years. And even AMD has more than doubled, up over 110%. All from the president who said,
"Members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information."
But here's the neat part. That bill only covers Congress, their spouses, and their kids. It does not touch the president at all. According to the Trump Organization's official position, these are fully discretionary accounts managed by independent third-party financial institutions. And because Trump doesn't pick the stocks, every single one of these 3,700 trades is completely legal. Quick pause. If you are looking for a low-cost brokerage with competitive pricing and a ton of features, you can check out Longbridge. With Longbridge, you get to enjoy lifetime $0 commission for the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore markets. Longbridge comes with free real-time data, company research tools, advanced charting, and they even have Longbridge AI, a built-in financial GPT that lets you ask about any stock or financial queries. For new users, if you deposit at least $2,000, you'll receive a 5% per annum interest booster on $4,000 placed in your Cash Plus money market fund. On top of that, if you meet their holding and trading requirements, you can earn rewards in the form of Nvidia shares worth up to $1,160. So if you're interested, you can check out the details via my exclusive link in the description box below. However, the real story here isn't about the trades or even about the returns either. It is about what ties them all together. Starting with the chips themselves, the engines that train every AI model. Trump didn't just buy Nvidia, AMD, or Intel. He also bought Broadcom, Marvell, and Texas Instruments. That's basically every major name when it comes to AI chips. Then he also bought the companies whose software designs those chips in the first place, Synopsys and Cadence. These are the two names most people have never heard of, but together they control most of the chip design market. He also bought Micron, SanDisk, and Seagate, aka the makers of the memory and storage that feed those chips. He bought Dell, the servers they live in, and he bought Oracle, the data centers that house them. And it does not stop there. He even bought the power and cooling businesses, Trane, Eaton, and Bloom Energy, the boring infrastructure that nobody ever talks about. And of course, he bought Palantir, the software that sits on top of it and is running the AI for the government and the military. When you put it all together, a pattern starts to emerge. He wasn't just buying some random AI names, he was actually building his portfolio across the entire AI stack, from the software that designs the chips to the power and cooling that runs the data centers to the AI sitting on top of all of it. Then, to top it all off, he threw the full weight of the US government behind all of them through government contracts, export rules, CHIPS Act money, to even buying the equity stakes directly. So this was never really about just his stock portfolio. It is much bigger than that. It is a bet that America wins the AI race placed by the only person who gets to write the rules of the game, and it is a signal for where the US policy and government money are heading next. So what does all of this mean for you? For most people, the first instinct is to just follow whatever he says. If he says buy Dell, they go and buy Dell. If he says Micron is great, they rush into Micron. And to be fair, this strategy has actually worked out so far, because more often than not, you would have made money if you have just followed his buy course. But that is not investing, it is just momentum chasing, where you are essentially betting that he keeps talking these stocks up and that the hype holds. But the problem is that these are some of the most expensive and cyclical names in the market, whether it is Palantir, Micron, or Broadcom. So the day that story breaks, they could fall just as fast as they climb. Instead, the smarter play probably isn't to chase his trades. It is to understand that there are two very different kinds of AI companies. First, there are the sellers, aka the ones who are selling the raw ingredients of the AI boom. And then there are the buyers, the ones stepping all of it up to build AI into their own products. So almost everything that Trump bought sits on the selling side. The chips, the memory, the networking, the hardware. These names are flying right now because the whole world wants AI faster than it can be built. And that scarcity hands them huge pricing power. But history tells us that scarcity never lasts. Once supply catches up, that pricing power fades, and the most cyclical of them, such as memory names like Micron, have a long history of falling, just as hard as they climb. Meanwhile, the buyers are the companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta. These are the ones that are pouring out cash to build all of this today. They are the ones who get to take all the computing power and turn AI into products that billions of people already use every day, whether it is search, ads, cloud, shopping, or social media. They own the customer, and they can keep monetizing that relationship for years, long after the build-out is over. And that is usually where the long-term money ends up. But even if you are not a stock picker, and you simply invest in broad-based ETFs such as VWRA, VT, or a plain old S&P 500 fund, the reality is that you already own most of those names, which means you are already in the same trade as the president, except that he gets to move the markets and write the rules behind it, while you get to come along for the ride. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hope you found it useful. Like, share, and subscribe, as I'll be posting new videos every week.